Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'm excited to host another fellow author whose book I have read and enjoyed. And this particular guest is joining me for the second time with his second book. He has written a science fiction novel recently. It is his second book, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, I have just finished reading the book a couple of hours ago, and I cannot wait to dive into his mind and get to know how he went about writing this book. Stay tuned, he'll be with us in a few moments. Let's wait for a few more people to join us also. Hello. We have the guest with us now. I'm going to add. Samir, I'm unable to add you. Probably it could be an issue with your Instagram app. If you can go to and check. Oh, we have you. Thank you.
Hi Manali.
Hi, Samir. So nice to have you again. How are
Same here.
you?
I'm great. It's been a long time.
Yeah,
It's
it's
hectic.
been more than 2 years, I think, right?
And I guess yeah. My last book was published 2.5 years ago, right? So yeah, it's about that time.
So I'm really excited. I was just telling the audience that I finished reading the book a couple of hours ago, and I cannot wait to get into your mind as to how you went about writing it. Before we do that, tell the audience about yourself.
Hello guys. Hello everyone. My name is Saxena, and I'm the author of two books now, Sunset by the River and The Creator, which is now live on Amazon. And I work in a bank, and that's why sorry for delay joining your live, and I apologize because you've given time, but I couldn't, join. So yeah, we I work in bank, and recently I've got transferred, and a lot of things have changed in this 1 year, in 1 week maybe. So I got very busy, so I couldn't even promote my book. So yeah, thank you for this session so that I have got an opportunity to talk about my book after all, right? And yeah, I love traveling, I love traveling to mountains and write about mountains and talk to people, interacting with people. And I'm reading your book. It's really, giving me brilliant Bollywood vibes. I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that. Since we are talking about your book, and before I ask my questions to you, I'm just going to read out a few passages. And is there anything particular that you would like me to read? I think my particular one is the where we are, first introduced to the creatum. It happens at Stanford, where they have the guest lecture. Is that your favorite one too?
Yeah, that's my favorite part because in that chapter, the whole essence of the book is there in that, that chapter in which the professor talks about the creatum for the first time.
Yes,
What exactly is the creatum, concept of the creatum? So
exactly.
I've written a few passages of it 2 or 3 years ago, with keeping in mind that maybe someday I'll write a science fiction on this concept. And when the story came out and that passage has, automatically got, it got fit in that chapter.
Yes. Before I read out, I'm just going to show the audience the cover of the book that we are talking about. This is what it looks like, the curriculum, and this is Samir's second book. And it is, I must tell you, it is so different from the first book. I have many questions on that, but let's first read the few passages from the book. This is from chapter 5. It goes, Stanford University woke up like a giant factory with its machines and particles in the form of students and faculty going to start their work for the day. The main building in front of the oval-shaped ground with the university logo engraved in the middle of it was now alive with the chaos of scholars and students. The logo was the symbol of the city too. Neil and Dylan were accompanied by a bunch of other students and entered the lecture hall of the astrophysics department. The lecture hall was designed so eye-catching that any keen student would want to sit there for hours. They settled in the middle portion of the hall from where the projector screen was at the best sight. Their seats were at some height from the lecture area in the front, like a multiplex screen view. I heard Dr. Patrick, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to skip
Ashino.
that. Professor Dr. Patrick Ecknor from Munich University will be delivering this lecture. Neil was visibly excited. He has been working on the research group to find the existence and the properties of creatome. You mean creator? Dylan smirked in laughter as the group burst out. No, no, it meant as Neil tried to explain, the lecture hall went silent on the arrival of a group of faculties and the head of the department, Dr. Paul Green. Dr. Paul went to the podium and addressed the crowd. Good morning to one and all. As an annual event, we invite renowned scholars from around the world to give you exposure to the ongoing research in the areas of physics and cosmology. This year, we are pleased to welcome Dr. Patrick Ecknor, head of the research on European dark matter search. I'm going to end it here because we'll be giving out too much to the audience now.
Yeah, if you still read more, you'll give out the spoilers. I don't want that.
Yeah, that's why I stopped. Because he goes on to reveal what creator is. So
Yeah,
I don't
that
want to
that
give
will
out that.
explain what the creatum is. The
Yeah.
chapter will explain what the creatum is.
Yeah.
What
So
is
this is chapter 5, right into beginning pages itself, we are introduced to the concept of creator, which is what I really liked. It's fast paced. You are not, faffing here and there and trying to explain too much into it. And the concept of creatome itself is not very complicated. So kudos on that. It's explained really nicely, and a person like me who's not a science student and doesn't understand much of physics was able to grasp the concept.
Yeah, I really tried hard to make it as simple as possible because being an engineering student, I can write a bunch of technical words, right? I can write scientific theories, but that won't be good for target audience who love to read science fiction or fantasy or fiction in general. So I tried to make it as simple. There's a chapter in your book which I really you know got me hooked and gave me Bollywood vibes, right? Yeah, that says absence makes the heart go, and you've written a quote on it. If two people really want to be together, nothing and no one can come in their way. Varun Agarwal. And the chapter starts with famous Bollywood song, right? इतना मजा क्यों आ रहा है तूने हवा में भांग मिलाई. So
Yes.
that opening line with the song, it thrown me into the scene, right? And now I imagine that it's going to be something related to Holi. And the chapter, starts. Avni Mehta sang along loudly to the lyrics as she swayed in abandon to its catchy tune. The Holi celebrations at Pashmina Seren were on, right? So I got with the song, I got that this chapter will be about the Holi, the festival of colors, the festival of happiness. And the Holi celebrations at Pashmina Seren were on in full swing. Being a posh residential complex did not stop its residents from letting their hair loose on festive days, especially a festival like Holi. This India's festival is the epitome of foregoing all your inhibitions, and Bollywood songs like the current one, uh, which had Avni going berserk. This chapter gives me vibes of Deepika Padukone, Avni being, dancing like Deepika Padukone. Only added to the overall madness. She was wearing a white kurta coupled with a white salwar, both of which currently looked like a painter's canvas. Wow, means matlab, that's related to painter and holy celebration. Quite interesting. The holy colors had tuned her clothes and almost every visible part of the body into a melange of various shades. Accompanied by his younger brother Abhi, Varun Agarwal walked into the premises where the festive celebrations were on. Immediately his eyes fell on Avni and a smile spread across his face. Hey Abhi, come join us. Avni ran towards Abhi and before he could react, she dragged him towards the spot where she had he been dancing from the table nearby. She grabbed a palm full of colors and were on display and rubbed it across his face and neck. So it's the way you explained the celebrations of Holi along with the uh, depiction of a Bollywood song. It gave readers the whole world of Holi celebration. Quite interesting.
I'm so glad that it came out in a way that you were able to imagine it. I tried to make it as sensory as possible and as visually pleasing as possible. Then, especially, I was trying to target the Bollywood lovers and music lovers like myself who would be able to, who have been to such celebrations and who like it as much as most people around India do. We
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
Sanjay Chandra sir here who's saying hi, and then we have Nilshri who's saying good
Hi
to see you,
Sanjay. Hi
Samir.
Nilshri.
Congratulations on the launch of new book.
Thank you Nilshri. Please read and leave a views about the book.
Nilshri, you missed out on my excerpt reading from Samir's book. I read out a few passages and it was really fun. I hope you can go back and have a look at the video. Okay, Samir. Since we have now read out from both of our books, let's begin with my questions for you. My first question to you is because I was, constantly comparing this book to your first book, and I was just in awe because that one is so different from this. The genres are completely different. That was romantic thriller, and this is scientific fiction. So tell us about how much time it took. Because in your author's note also you have said that the concept for this came to you before the concept of Sunset by the River. So I want to understand how was it different, the research, and why did it take you longer to write this one than that? And what kind of research went into it? How was it different, the writing of both the books?
The this idea of writing this concept was uh, began, I guess, after my schooling and when I joined engineering and started diving into physics. So there were really some incidences when I used to think like, how this universe work and how this universe, give us signals like see what we are doing and for what purpose and like whatever we are doing, whatever is happening, might be happening for for betterment of ourselves, or people around us. So sorry. So this concept was with me since my engineering days. And then something happened which prompted me to write about Sunset by the River first, because there were that was based on real story, right? Real incidences.
Hmm.
So that's why I had to finish it first because uh, it was fresh. It was related to some events which I had to pen down as it were happening, or somewhat similar to that. So that's why it came out first. And then when I finished writing Sunset by the River and got the response from readers and lovely people like you, so it gave me a boost to finish. That yeah, I can do science fiction as well because people are loving my writing, giving me uh, you know thumbs up about writing process. So then I started working on create the concept of creator, and after 2 years it got completed, and it took a few more months to get the cover ready because I designed the cover myself, and also the editing part took a little longer, and now it's out in your hands. Thank you.
Yes. Janan is saying hello. Hi, Janan. And Nilshri has another compliment for you. Wow, you are an engineer too. High five.
Hi, Nilshi. Thank you.
Okay. My second question to you is that, you know, uh, writing a dystopian book like this, you are setting it 100 years from now. So, what kind of research went into that kind of writing? What do you need to understand? Because you cannot have current research as your basis for writing. So, what kind of understanding do you need to have? What kind of research? What kind of books did you read? And what kind of tips and tricks would you like to share with us when we are writing such a story?
Look, I tried to focus more on the concept of the story. And I might agree that there might be a parts where you would not be able to really relate with my vision of 100 years later. Because when we talk about sci-fi, when we talk about futuristic stories or stories that are based in future, we automatically we imagine spaceships, we imagine flying cars, we imagine like a huge revolution. But I don't think that that's gonna happen within 100 days, because if we compare like 1923 to 2023, right? It's been 100 years. But yeah, the revolution in internet and the revolution in the
Technology.
transport system.
Hmm.
Uh, Apart from these two things, I don't see much difference
Hmm.
apart from the population growth, right?
Hmm.
So as long as we are talking about the uh, concept of the novel, then I try to make it as simple as possible so that readers can, relate with the concept
Hmm.
and don't get confused in, imagining the world 100 years ahead. That was my own opinion. I got feedbacks from the agents saying that it doesn't look like 100 years more a book based
Hmm.
100 years in the future,
Hmm.
or maybe it doesn't relate with the Indian readers. But
Hmm.
I have belief that people would love it, because the way I created the concept of creator, that's what matters to me. If one reader gets the idea or understand the idea, that's a success to me.
My which brings me to a related question here. There must have been instances where you were stuck in your writing because it can't have been easy. Probably you imagined something and it was not going with the flow of the story or with the plot of the
Yeah,
story. You imagined
yeah.
something in 100 years and it didn't fit well into the plot of the story that you were writing. How did you overcome that kind of instances, those challenges? Is there a particular chapter where you are stuck like that? Share with us such an incident
Yeah,
also.
yeah. I was stuck in the climax, right?
Hmm.
I had to create a climax in which, you have to you have. Well, I had to uh, design something which doesn't even exist, which
Hmm.
doesn't even exist in the books. It doesn't exist in the internet or any textbooks.
Yes.
I had to create something like that. So and creating that and being able to communicate to the readers, right? That was challenge to me. So I had idea in my mind. I was stuck like I guess 4 or 5 months to create the
Wow.
climax. How would I be able to narrate it in a way that readers could understand and relate it with the religious structures it
Yes.
mentions when you read the climax. I'm giving away the spoiler, sorry. So
That's
that
okay.
was
You
a
are not
challenge
giving
to
away
me.
spoiler. You are actually creating curiosity in the mind of the audience. They would be interested to know what we are talking about. Yes, continue.
So I guess someone is saying sci-fi masterwork published and republished famous sci-fi novels over 200 titles, hundreds of authors, but not one of them is Indian. Why so Indian writers stuck at sci-fi? Why? Sorry, I'm brutal. Okay.
That is also an author whose works I've really enjoyed best. His name is Prabhanjan Katkar. He goes by S.B. Akshobhya. His pen name is that. He's asking us why do Indian writers stuck at sci-fi? You would be the right person to answer that. Come on, Samir.
I won't say that Indian writers suck or something. Maybe that it depends on the writing style, or maybe the you can say preset mindset of the readers, that many sci-fi authors from outside India, so they have that kind of mindset. So maybe they don't relate with the kind of writing, because we don't Indian authors don't uh, don't write English naturally. They have to first translate their thoughts, right?
Correct.
So maybe
The language becomes the
that
first
was
issue.
a bit of communication gap between the author and readers. And same may be the case with me. If you read my book, maybe you can say that there are some uh, the writing may be a bit of on the lower side compared to the Western authors, because I'm not grown up in Europe
So
or
we don't have
USA.
English as our first
Right.
language, so that becomes
Right.
the first
But
barrier
when
for
you
us.
go through the ideas of the book, when you go through the summary and essence of the book, they have creativity. They have creativity. They write well, but that the way they present might be or might not be at par with the Western authors, but the ideas are. So when you read, don't presume that the writing style is so cliche or so Indian type. You read their ideas, you read their thought process, then you might be able
Prabanjan
to
has replied. He's saying that his own book is also a sci-fi novel.
Oh, great! I'll really love to read that. Please do share the link. I love sci-fi.
So,
So
Ashok,
yeah,
Prabanjan, you have another author who has written sci-fi, and he's also an Indian. The two of you have written sci-fi based in India, so you have something common to connect over.
yeah. Great to know about you.
Okay, Samir, I leave the floor open to you now based on your reading of my book. If you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them.
Yeah, I mean, your book is really, giving Bollywood vibes. So, but, uh, if you could relate any movie or any show, Indian show that could, that could give glimpses of your story, which movie would it be? I'd really love to watch that.
I think it's a mix of all the movies that I have referred to. But I think DDLG would be the best because
Yeah,
because
you
I
mentioned.
have referred to Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge the most in the entire book. And if you pick up any Bollywood rom-com, I think you would be able to relate my book to that because I am not ashamed of admitting that I have taken a lot of inspiration from Bollywood movies itself and merged it into my own plot line of the story. So pick any Bollywood movie. In fact, a lot of readers and not just readers, author readers, like you and me, they have also read and said that yeah, the video is stuck. Nilshi is saying the video is stuck. If any of you are facing the same issue, let us know in the comments. Yeah, so I was saying that a lot of readers and readers who are authors themselves, they have also come back and told me, reading your book was like watching a Karan Johar movie. So that's like a big compliment for me because we have all grown up on those movies. The 90s kids era, and we have all watched the movies that, Karan Johar and Yash Chopra made for all of
Right.
us to watch.
Karan Johar is the god of romance.
Yes. So yeah, those movies were my references, and inspiration is taken heavily from them.
Yeah, and really, Bollywood has gone really into experiments these days, and with the DDLJ setting a benchmark, I don't see anything coming near to it. And with your writing and coming into this, this genre is really commendable because people really, Indians love, rom-com and romance,
Yes.
really. And so the marketing this is really a challenge because there are a lot of competitors in the market, I guess. So what do you think, marketing a book would take? Like you do you believe to self marketing your books or hiring any PR agencies or something like that? What's your insight about it?
See, of course, you can and you should take up services of people who are experienced in this arena, who have done marketing for books that have done really well. But before you do that, what I believe is that you understand the market yourself. You understand how it works yourself. वो समझना बहुत जरूरी है. Unless and until you understand the market on your own, you will not be able to understand who should you hire, how much should you pay them, is it even worth it, and what kind of reach do they have. These kind of questions and their answers you will only be able to understand when you go deep into it yourself. So do it yourself first, but then decide whether any somebody else or an agency doing it for you will work for you. Will it fit into your budget? Everything else falls into place once you have understood the market yourself.
Exactly, the uh, understanding what we can understand, like what we want to convey, and depending on someone else will be a totally different, unless they are professionals, like dealing only in the book marketing segment,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
hiring just a marketing firm for promotion of your brand would not guarantee sales of your books. And until and unless the person is really a book reader and understand the readers, the genres. Yeah, really, I agree with that. So, uh, and what about if I talk about this romance genre, and your way of understanding romantic genre is really commendable. What are your plans? Next writing.
Sorry, what am I?
What are your plans of writing the next?
So I do have a third book in this series itself. This is the second book in the series, Love Trials, and I do have a third book planned. I have not yet started working on it, but yeah, you can expect a third novel anytime in 2024. I'm not promising anything right now because I have not yet started working on it. But yeah, I do plan on continuing to write rom-com novels, and my forte lies in poetry. So you will also see a lot of poetry books coming out of me
Yeah,
year
you.
after year. So, are if you are done with this barging of questions of trying to understand how we work on our books, we'll get to the fun section of the session now, the rapid fire. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So my first question to you in this round is, because I have seen and observed it in both of your books. So I want to understand, if you were to choose, what would you choose? Romance or science fiction? Which is easier to write as well as read, and why?
Look, it depends on authors, but for me, writing science fiction or science related stuff is easier than writing romance. I tried writing romance in my first book, but it was mostly about some other concept. I tried to introduce romance, but yeah, for me, it's science fiction.
Okay, that's interesting. So it really depends on your background and your own interest, right? So your question for me, Sameer.
So, what do you think? Reading books, or movies based on books, which is more enjoyable?
Oh my. This this is like catch 22 situation. uh, I think reading books, as a reader, मैं तो हमेशा reading books ही चुनूंगी. If you ask me, or if you ask any book lover, they are always going to say the book is better. So yeah, book.
For readers, it's books all.
Yes, for any reader, I think books are always going to win over movies. So now, since you have written a science fiction book, from you, I want to know the last science fiction book or movie or show that you have watched, and would you recommend it to us?
Movie, that's Interstellar. If there's nothing like Interstellar, no, nothing even close to Interstellar, in the science fiction, and especially in space opera type, space related science fiction.
Hmm.
Uh, if you'll talk generally science fiction, I'll go with Interstellar as well. But science fiction has a lot of categories, and Interstellar falls in space category of science fiction. But at any point, Interstellar would prevail for me. And,
Interstellar is almost a decade old now, right? If I'm not wrong, or more than that.
yeah, but I've watched I watch Interstellar. I guess every 1 or 2 months, right?
Oh
I
wow.
don't know why.
Oh,
Yeah, I've watched it like I guess more than 20 times. I don't know why, but it just gives me a different vibe. I don't know why. So that's why
that's really interesting. And now I understand your passion for science
yeah,
fiction.
and I really recommend people to watch it. I don't know why. So, and coming into your genre, you've written book and giving it, DDLJ theme. So, if I'll say Shah Rukh or Ranbir, who's your Bollywood romance icon?
No, no, none of them. I am always a director's viewer. I will go on based on which production house is making it and which director has made the movie. Writer, director, production house. These are my preferences. I don't go based on the actor. Generally, it is never based on the actor. So if it is a Yashraj movie, I will go.
Okay, then
Or if it
yes,
is a
Shah
Dharma
we will
production, I
feature
will
both Shah Rukh and Ranbir anytime.
go.
You can watch
Yes,
both. Yeah,
yes.
smart answer.
Yeah. So, Samir, what I wanted to understand is now that you have published, you have also done traditional publishing, but this is completely out and out a self-published book, if I'm understanding correctly, right? So, tell us which one would you choose and why for your next book, or if you want to advise us.
Look, traditional publishing is always a better option when it's coming from a well-established house, right? And giving a market scenario which I have experienced till now, like there are a huge demand of non-fiction. Like you are writing non-fiction, then publishing houses are taking it with both hands. And fiction right now is not I would say not in demand for maybe the publisher, but it's demand with the readers. And lot of self-publishing indie authors are coming with brilliant stories, brilliant novels, and brilliant marketing techniques. If you see, you might have read and know that Amish sir has self-published Melua first, right? And then it is
Yes.
taken over by the Westland. So if you have really confidence in your writing, you can always go for self-publishing if you're not getting a well-established house. That's what I did, and I believe that if you're not getting a well-published house, you go with the self-publishing.
And the market for self-publishing is very dynamic. It's growing exponentially, I
No,
would
You
say.
have you have flexibility. You have flexibility for marketing, for for release dates, for you know being designing your own book. It's all in your hands.
Yes, true. Anyone who's listening, self-publishing, go for self-publishing if you're not getting the top five publishers. That's the smart choice. Okay.
Based on that, I guess I have asked you this question, but what you think if you'll market yourself and you will hire a PR agency, right? What would you choose? What would you choose in these two?
So, in my experience, like you, I have been into traditional and self-publishing both. So, my understanding is that when you are self-publishing, you will automatically become a self-promoter and you will learn a lot about marketing it yourself. So, in at least in the initial few months, do it yourself, or for the first 2 3 books, if you're self-publishing, do it yourself. By that time, you will get an understanding of how the market works, and you will also know that who is the right person and the right agency who will help you get help your book reach a newer audience. After that, you can take a call whether it falls in your budget, or it's a good return on investment or not, and based on that you can hire someone.
I planned for the marketing myself, but my work has
Yeah.
was away all
So
the
for
plans.
people like you
I didn't.
who have time constraints, I would suggest do consider taking up an agency
Yeah,
because a lot of good
I'm
agencies are
now
available.
considering it because next 1 month is going to be really hectic. I don't know if I'll able to market my book that I planned.
Yes. Yeah. So Nilsi is also agreeing with our viewpoint.
Yeah,
Either invest
to
in publishing house or
really
PR agency.
perfect.
Either one.
Either you invest in self-publishing house or vanity publishing. They are saying vanity publishing house, or you invest in PR agency. And any day
Yes.
investing in PR agency is a better option.
Yes. Because not only is it a reasonable option when you compare the two costs involved. The cost involved in vanity publishing would be higher in comparison to the cost you would put in a PR agency for promoting your book. So again, that becomes a smarter choice, and ROI would be better, I would say. Okay, my last question to you is
It's
one thing
turning
about
out to be long form answer instead of rapid fire, right?
yeah, I think you skipped one of the long form answers instead of this. I think you wanted to ask something related to travel, if I'm remembering correctly.
I'll ask. I'll ask that. Yeah,
Okay.
like um, you traveled a lot. I've seen your story that goes right. So what being into different countries, being meeting different kind of people. What gives you more creativity? Does this give you more creativity to write about characters or places? Being at different places.
It does, because I have always been somebody who takes a lot of inspiration from my experiences, from my interactions with people. So if you are somebody like me who is automatically inspired by everything happening around them, then you must go out, you must interact with people, you must explore new places, indulge in new experiences, because they will unconsciously form a part of your habits and your work, everyday life. So for me, my work is my writing, and these become a part of it unconsciously, even if I'm not trying to. Like, for instance, in this book of mine, I never intended to include so many spots in Mumbai that I have personally enjoyed visiting. They automatically became a part of the story, and now everyone is coming and telling me that, I have also been to these spots and I really like reading about them. So, no experience is going to go waste when you are a creator. And in life also, generally, whatever experience you are gaining, it's only going to help you become a better person in one way or the other. So I would definitely say, go out, do
What
as much of the
interesting
things
thing
you
is
enjoy doing.
for me? What interesting thing is, I don't know why, but I have written about places that I have not uh, visited yet, and now you know, every day I got curious to visit that place and asked to visit that place. So probably next month I'll be visiting a place which I have narrated in my climax. I narrated it
Oh wow.
on YouTube videos based on feedback from people who live there, friends from who live there. But I'll be visiting next week, and I'm really excited about it.
That is wonderful. I am excited to, see your post and the photo that I'm sure you are going to put up with the book cover of Creatum saying that this is the place where this happened. Okay. So my next question to you, Zamir, is that as a banker, we all know you are doing a full time profession as a banker also. So one thing about being a banker that helps in your writing, and one thing about being a writer that helps you as a banker.
Look, being a banker gives you opportunity to visit different places. I'm last week I got transferred to a new place. I have to report that place next week. So that will give me chance to explore new places, and it gives me chance to interact with more people every day. I guess I meet at least 30 to 40 people, and sorry, every person, has their stories. Every person has their background. Every person has a face. So you can, create a character out of people. So it really helps me in writing. And writing books and writing, about places, people, and this has helped me, staying calm at workplace, because writing is
Oh,
like a therapy to me. Whenever the work pressure is high, I got really frustrated. Sometimes work pressure is high. People, I'm getting irritated. And when I come back home and I sit at my table and start writing, that calm my nerves a lot.
that's really nice. So
Yeah,
both your professions are helping you in a way, like
I'm
you're
trying
merging
to,
with
yeah,
each other.
I'm trying to make a balance, but uh, recently it got a little disturbed, but I'm trying hard to make a balance. Let's see. So, my question to you: which is your favorite non-fiction book?
Non-fiction book. Oh my God,
Yeah,
this is really tough. uh, at the
I
top
should have
of my
given
head,
you.
I'm going to say The Secret because uh, that's like a book, it's like the secrets of life. It reveals the secrets of life to you. So I'm going to say The Secret. Yeah.
Uh,
And it's just at the top of my head. And I think that's one book that's going to stay, whose, lessons are going to stay with me for a long time. Other than that, I would say Sudhamoti's 3000 Stitches. That was also a really good non-fiction book. Sudhamoti's 3000 Stitches. That was also a good book. You should try her. And I mean, I was also always under the impression that she only writes good fiction. I was really pleasantly surprised when I read that. And I was like, yeah, she can write non-fiction just as well.
yeah.
Okay. So, your book. We are 100 years into the future in your book. Now, as a person, I want you to think in 100 years, what would you like the people to remember about you?
I was really waiting someone to ask this, right? And you've asked that. So, I would love if after 100 years there would be a discovery of a particle, you know, and that is responsible to convey your thoughts to people, right? And that is responsible to, you can say, communicate through thoughts, right? There will be a discovery after 100 years. Then someone would say, hey, wait, I have read a book which has a similar concept.
Um,
And that's the book named The Creator, written by Sameer Saxena. I guess that would be the only thing which I would like to remember. I would like people to remember after 100 years.
that would be amazing. Let's send it out in the universe. I'm sure it will happen.
Really, and so talking about stories of future and all, and science fiction. We have discussed Indian authors. We have discussed with someone commenting about Indian authors, not par with Western authors like this. So my question: do you think that writing a novel should be bound with a set of rules, as prevailed in the industry, like because people say a novel should be at least 50,000 words. A novel should have a chapter should have at least 2,000 words, or maybe the font, or the maybe some set of rules. What do you think about that?
No, I don't think, the content creation itself, it has become so dynamic, Samir, lately that, we cannot have content which is bound. We need to keep exploring. We need to keep writing stuff which is, breaking barriers or breaking stereotypes or, uh, giving the readers and the audience something new. So I don't think we should and we can stay बाउंड इन अ सेट ऑफ रूल्स कि ये बुक है तो ये जॉनर है तो ऐसे ही लिखने हैं, ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. We cannot stay bound to that anymore because the audience itself is becoming so dynamic. We as creators are becoming dynamic ourselves. And
Exactly.
what I always say is that because we are content creators, we are our first consumers. And if we are not liking what we are creating, we are only feeling that ये तो हमने कर लिया है, ये तो हमने पढ़ लिया है, तो how is the audience going to find it interesting? So
Exactly.
you have to always keep challenging yourself.
Yeah, I've got some replies from the from agents. I've sent my proposal saying that it doesn't met expectations of Indian readers because of characters are based in Europe or Western countries.
They are
So
based in
I guess
US, and
that
yeah, I'm sure
that's
you must have got
setting
those feedback.
setting rules to creativity, but that's how it works. People have their opinion. People would like what they have the perception.
Samir, that brings our previous discussion again to the point, that if the people like the publishers and the agents are not willing to accept your manuscript as it is, there is always the opportunity for you to go ahead with self-publishing. And if it does well, if you believe in it yourself, I'm sure it will, be a success. And those same publishers will come back to you saying that we would like to represent you. So
Yeah, but by doing that, we should also uh, take the feedbacks which they are giving. Maybe they are rejecting
of
our
course,
proposal,
you have to
telling
have
us,
that much belief in your
yeah,
content, that much beef
right.
in your content, that and also, of course, you have to take feedback from a few trusted sources who
Because
are not
someone,
biased towards your writing. You
someone suggested me to change the character names to Indians because
hmm,
the readers be able to relate more with the Indian readers would be able to relate more. But changing the character names to Indian mean that I have to change the entire plot. I have to change the entire, sequence of events. That would mean I am rewriting my novel again. So these kind of things would make us think that yeah, why don't we have uh, option to put out our word ourselves. That's when self-publishing help us to put our work out to the readers.
what you said, Samir, it brings me to an interesting point about your book. Though your characters, they are, the main characters at least, they are based in the US, and they are the ones who start the chain of events that happen in the book. What I absolutely loved about your book is that you have placed the main events in India, and you have shown India as the superpower, which is like,
But
which
but
is
I
the
had to send proposal and that had only sample chapters.
hmm,
And reading sample chapter would not give you an idea what
uh,
this book
right.
is going to be, what this book is conveying to us. But that's
Yes.
how it works. We have to accept and move on.
Right. And as I said, you have to take a chance on you have to believe it in your work yourself. Reach out to people who are trustworthy. They will tell you whether it's, good enough to go ahead on your own. So that always helps. First of all, you have to have the belief in the work yourself. And as a consumer and as a creator, if you don't like the work yourself, if you don't believe it in yourself, nobody else is
Yeah.
going to do it. And somehow I feel, Samir, that somewhere you also know when you have created something like that, you also know within yourself that you have not given it the best. You know it within yourself somewhere when you have not given your 100%. तुम्हें पता चल जाता है कि ये नहीं चलेगा.
Exactly. Authors have to stay in the market, write book every 6 months, come out with a book every 6 months, otherwise readers will forget. I
Yes.
don't. I think that what we discussed earlier. It's setting a rule, setting a boundary to your creativity. People write well within 6 months, but for me it doesn't work that way. Maybe because I have a full-time job that demands my you know hard work and all. But again, if I be be a full-time writer, I won't be able to maybe complete within 6 months. Maybe I'm a procrastinator.
No, you are balancing it well, I would say, because you have other responsibilities to look towards too as well, and not everyone can have the same kind of liberty with time that most other writers have, most other authors might have. So to each his own. Yeah, we have a lot of people joining in who are saying hi to
Yeah,
us. So thank you all for joining us, even though you have been a little late. But thank you for joining. Great live, Manorama Saxena is saying thank you so much. I think
that's my
he
mama.
might
Thank
be a
you.
friend or relative. And we have Pra's Musings. Thank you. Hello. Do we have any questions from the audience that we are missing?
I think we missed a question or maybe a point or two, which
Uh,
our sci-fi author suggested. He said, "I
uh,
have written. I can't pronounce his name, Bakshobia.
Akshobhya.
That's Bakshobia.
Yes.
Okay." He said, "I have written a math five novel. It's not sci-fi.
Acha, so,
It's sci-fi. Interesting concept. I would be reading soon, and I wish you all the best." And that's what breaks the rules of. I don't say break the rules, or it sets a bar of creativity. You don't set a rules for creativity like a
so
sci-fi
it
should
is
only
very
have.
out of the box. What we say out of the box.
Yeah, out of the box, right? You don't say that sci-fi has to feature only space. Sci-fi only has to feature aliens.
Hmm.
That's not creativity. Creativity like that the person math fight. That's really interesting.
Yes. Thank you, Samir. Despite your, rigid work deadlines and everything, you were able to join me, and this was again a fun conversation. I
Yeah,
really hope you can write the next one sooner than this, so we can do this again.
really, I am really, and it's really great to have you interacting with
Same
you,
here.
and wish you all the best about your
Thank
third book in
you
the
so much.
series. I hope you finish it soon.
And
The
I
series.
am also wishing you all the best because I have read the book. I know that you have a second book coming for Creatum. So all the best for that as well.
There is a hint in it. Yeah.
I for one am really looking forward to the sequel. So all the best to you
Thank
as
you,
well.
Minal.
Thank you for joining me, and thank you to everyone who was able to join us today. The video, those of you who have missed it, it will be available on my Instagram and on my YouTube channel. So you can always go back and check it if you have missed it. Thank you, Samir, and thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Minal. Thank
weekend.
you, everyone. Bye bye. See you.